guys! This week for Flower Friday, we have a great fall selection of beautiful yellows, oranges, and soft sands. We're going to be doing a compote today, just trying to do something a little bit different with our buckets. So let's check out what we have. We have some dried undyes. We have some really cool foliage this week. Some gorgeous dahlias and quicksand roses, scabiosa pods, so lots of fun textures. When you're starting with a compote, make sure the oasis is nice and soaked. I already pre-soaked it. Used about half of a block. And usually what I like to start out with, normally you would be filling in with your hydrangea just to create a nice base. But when I'm using Oasis, I like to create my shape first. So I'm actually going to start off with my palm frond. And just cut this guy. You can stick him right in the center or off to the side. I'm going to put him kind of off to the side. And then I'm going to take my funky uke and create my nice long tall pieces. So this is where I'm going to have my height. My tallest pieces are going to start. And I'm just breaking this up. Now, doing things this way, I am creating my shape first, and then I'm going to use my foliage and other flowers to kind of fill in. Make sure you're always rotating. You don't want things to be completely one-sided, especially if this is a centerpiece. Okay. Then I am going to do my seeded uke. I'm doing these greens first because I can build on top of them. You can always use them as accents. I want to make sure my flowers are building on top of this texture. Now again, you can spread all of your seeded uke out, but I'm going to create a cluster. On one side, but you got plenty to work with. Some pieces have a little more foliage on them. Some have a little more seed. I'm just kind of trying to spread out that texture. Nice and spread out. Okay, now I'm going to take my 3 roses, my sprays, and again, I'm going to break them up, but use some of these little clusters that I have. I'm just kind of spreading out. to be even all the way around. So I'm gonna keep them kind of even. Going back to our other videos, reminding ourselves of cutting things nice and sharp, cutting things at an angle, inserting with a fresh cut. If you already cut something and put it down, make sure you're recutting. I want to make sure those pores are nice and open. These are my pom-poms. So I am breaking them up, keeping some together, separating some. I'm going to use these clusters that I have. And then these are all little single guys. I'm going to use them. Try to create some depth with these dark burgundies. Love the colors of fall. Things just look so rich. And I used a copper compote. You could use any sort of shape or color. I went with copper because it kind of reminds me of the copper beach that we're going to be using. It's a nice neutral tone, so it'll pretty much go with anything. I also wanted that white to really stand out. Oh, I don't want that piece. Okay, now I am actually going to go in with my copper beach. So you should have a couple pieces, really pretty brown leaf, almost red leaf foliage, really reminding you of the changing of the season. And look at that with my copper compote. It's just really standing out here. If you don't like where something is placed, feel free to move it. But please keep in mind, with Oasis, you can only move things so many times, because every time you make an insertion, you are creating a hole. And the more holes that you make, that could potentially break your Oasis. And we don't want to do that. The Oasis is keeping everything intact all together, and it's also providing that water source. So if we break it, then it's not going to be able to spread. The Oasis is almost like a sponge, and it's holding all the water for the flowers, but it's also acting like a cage and holding everything in place. Now, as I mentioned before, you could use chicken wire. There's even plastic cages. So you could use something a little more reusable, sustainable. We're going old school for today. Old school with the knife, old school with the Oasis. And I broke up my copper beach. If you have some left over, you can hold on to it, always add it in. With any of our buckets, that's why it's DIY. You can use everything, but you don't have to. All right, now I'm gonna go in, and I have some spaces. So I'm gonna use my hydrangea to fill in those spots, and I'm just gonna break it up. and just kind of fill in the holes. Now you can do this ahead of time and really frame everything out and build on top of it. But I wanted my hydrangea to peek through a little bit more than if I built on top of it. I want that white to show through because it really pulls through the palm frond. Now, as any art form, there are techniques, but there is no right or wrong way to do something. As long as it's bringing you joy, bringing beauty into the world, that is what an artist cares about. But at the same time, we do want things to look pretty. We want them to last. So when you're breaking up your hydrangea, make sure it's nice, crisp cuts, and that the hydrangea is inserted into the oasis because it needs lots of water, hence the name hydrangea. It drinks a lot. So just filling in any holes that we have, and mostly just making sure the edges are covered. The center we still got plenty more to fill in. So the center will be taken care of, and that's why Oasis is green. So if for some reason you can see through it, it just looks natural. It's great. Kind of make sure you're looking underneath, because again, this is a centerpiece. So people ideally are going to be looking all around it. So just keep rotating. And there you go. All right. Now I'm going to put in my quicksands. These are a great neutral color, almost white, but with a little hint of blush and sometimes gold. It really tones everything down. Which is nice. Usually around this time of year, everything's black and dark. Maybe even if you have some color, it might be orange or like a lime green or a bright purple. And we're just gonna go with what nature shows us during the fall, which are these rich burgundies, beautiful copper tones, soft blushes and creams. Now don't get me wrong, I do love spooky season, but I also just love the natural vibe. Put in these showstoppers, our dahlias. I'm going to put one on either side, so that way we're sharing the love. Now we have our scabiosa pods. They're going to be a great little boingy accent. Drop some, so give me 1 second. Getting a little messy right here. All right, spin around. Okay. And last but not least, fun little pompous, and you can spread them out evenly. I think I'm going to stick mine all to one side. You know what, actually, it's going to be this side. Okay, give it a nice spin, check for any holes. You can feel free to add things in, but here you go. Here is our centerpiece. And I'm going to actually, and there you have it, our fall centerpiece, complete with dahlias, copper beech, quicksand roses, and some other fall favorites. Happy Friday!